if you are new here. My name is Ashley and I post new Disney inspired content every single week, and today's video is my first Pinterest craft video. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to explain really quick what my plan is for these videos, is I have a Pinterest board and I have a craft Pinterest board that has thousands of posts on it, and like most people, I posted these with the intention of making them and never have. So I am going to be going through my craft Pinterest board and making some of the crafts and just do it with you guys, and we can decide together whether it is a awesome craft idea or whether it was a fail. Today's video I am super excited about. I am going to kind of show you how to make this. It is a shadow box. The only part that I will not be showing you is cutting out the paper. I cut it out on my Cricut. I have yet to figure out how to show that part. But if you have a Cricut, there are lots of videos out there to show you how to use it if you don't already know, or if you are new to the Cricut world. It's super easy to do. But yeah, so let's jump into it. Alrighty, you're going to need one different colored piece of paper. You're going to need quite a few white sheets of paper. You are going to need I use the scrapbooking tape. You can really use anything that'll stick, like the poster board, to the paper. You're going to need one shadow box. The shadow box that I used was a 12 by 12. You're going to need one piece of poster board, the thicker poster board, because you'll use that for like your spacers. And then you will need you're going to need some LED strip lights. I found these at Walmart for $9.88, and it comes in like a roll, and so you just unroll it, and it has like a backing onto it that you just take off and stick onto the poster board. You're also going to want to make sure that you cut a little notch at the bottom of your back for your shadow box so that you'll be able to put the cord for the lights through it to plug it in. So you're going to start off by just kind of pressing that down. I did have trouble on the corners because since they're lights, they don't really want to bend. So you kind of have to turn the corners up a little bit and stick it down that way. So I am going to keep sticking this, and we'll get back when I'm done. Alrighty, so now that I have it all sticked down, I'm just going to go through and just press down really hard on it, and I'm going to plug it in and make sure that they are all working, because I know by kind of having the corners in there, yeah, so see, half of it didn't work, but once I kind of push down, you'll find the spot where it's a little off, and it usually turns them all back on. So you always want to check that to make sure that they all work before you continue on to the rest of your project. Okay, so you're going to want to take one of your squares that you cut out in the Cricut, and you are going to want to cut out a square into the poster board. I just did that by laying it on there and kind of marking the outside of it, and then use the X-Acto knife to cut all the way through it. It's easier to use the X-Acto knife than it is a pair of scissors, but if a pair of scissors is all you have, that'll work too. I did have to cut through it a couple different times in order to go all the way through the poster board, but if you have a new blade on your X-Acto knife, it should only take like 1 or 2 goes to get all the way through it. So once you get that disconnected, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect square or half perfect edging. It's because you're not going to see that. So next you're going to take one of your pieces of paper and you're going to use that to measure out the strips that you're going to be using to attach to the pieces of paper as kind of like your spacers. Each piece of paper will need to have spacers on them in order for it to look right when you put it in the shadow box, and in order to fill up all of the space in the shadow box so it doesn't really move around. So I used the entire piece of the poster board that I cut out. I just went ahead and cut all the strips. I wasn't sure how many that I was going to need at the time, so I figured it was better just to cut them all and just use what I needed. So that's what I did. So then after I got them all measured out, I went back with the X-Acto knife and went over the marks that I made to mark them, just to kind of cut them all the way through so that I would be able to tear them apart. So once I made it all the way down to the end of the poster board, I went ahead, you can't see it because I started to pull it off, but you can just take them and kind of fold them and just kind of rip them off, because again, they don't have to be perfect because you're not going to see them. So now you have your pile of spacers, and you're just going to take each of your pieces of paper and put tape on the top and tape on the bottom of each paper and add your spacer to them. You want to do that with each one, and I did them in order of how they're going to go into the shadow box, which the pattern that I downloaded, it tells you which order that you need to go in. So just so I could keep them straight, that was how I did it, was in that order. Now once I finished these 3 pieces, then it came to a piece that I had to do a little extra on. So I got the spacers on these ones. And then this next page is where you're going to use the one piece of color paper that you cut out, which again, like I said, I did mine backwards. This Marie outline part was supposed to be, that was supposed to be the colored paper. That was supposed to be the purple. But I did it backwards, but I mean, it looked fine anyways. And since it's something that I'm keeping for myself or giving to my niece, it was no big deal. You want to make sure you get as much tape on there as possible, but you really want to be careful since the lines are so fine. They will rip very easily. So, once I put tape on that, I put an extra piece of paper down just to cover the tape that got on that poster board so it wouldn't get on my actual project. So then you just want to line it up on your next piece of paper where it goes and just kind of tape down any loose edges. I had a couple on there, so get those taped down, which again, you want to be careful because you don't want to get excess tape onto your actual project, and you don't want to rip any of the little fine lines. So after I got that on there, I flipped that one over and did the same thing as I did with the others and add the spacers on the top and the bottom of that page and set it off to the side. And then this is the last page to apply spacers to. So this is the page that'll be, this one will go in first, because this is going to be your front kind of border for your shadow box. So I got my spacers. My tape gun stopped working. But I got my spacers on there. And then that is all the layers. So then I still had some spacers left over. I took my shadow box and I laid it down. And I started to put the layers into the shadow box. First, you want to make sure that you have the top and the bottom correct, because your back's only going to go on one way, and so you don't want to have it upside down. So I checked that and I started to put the layers in, and once I got to putting the second layer in, I kind of realized that on the sides where I didn't put any spacers, it kind of falls in a little bit, and I didn't like that. So I ended up taking out the layers so that I could add spacers onto the side. So luckily I had cut out those excess spacers, and I just took those, I cut them in half because I didn't really need a whole line. So I cut those spacers in half and put half on each side, and I did that with each layer, and that kind of kept it from kind of dipping inwards. My tape gun was giving me some serious problems. So this part kind of went by really fast because it was really simple. You just, I went ahead and got them all cut in half so that I could just breeze through, stick tape on them, and stick them on. I will say this project it was a very time-consuming project, and it was a very tedious project as far as like little intricate details go. It is not one that I would recommend trying to make a bunch of and selling, because like the shadow box is, the one that I got was like $10 to $15. The LED lights are like $10. And I mean, the paper and stuff's cheap, but I don't know, the time that it takes to make it and put it all together, it wouldn't be worth to try to sell if that's what you wanted to do. If you wanted to make it for a gift, it's a super cute gift idea, and it would look super cute in a little girl's room. But so now that those are done, you will bring your shadow box back to the front, back onto your table, and here's where you're going to layer them in, which it should be better now that you have spacers on all four sides. There is going to be a little bit of wiggle room just because I know, like with my Cricut, it won't cut 12 by 12 because that's as big as the mat is, and it has to have a little space on the side. But so these you just kind of lay in there, and again, you want to make sure that you know the top from the bottom so they're not all upside down. And once you get them all in your shadow box, that is when you'll put the backing on. I did notice here when I went to put that last layer in, there was some of the poster board sticking up, so it didn't lay down right. So I just pulled it out, trimmed it up a little bit, and then put it back in so that it fit down in there without kind of bubbling up. So Now that that is all in there, that's kind of what it's going to look like before you put the back on. So now I am going to put the back on that has the LED lights on it and kind of make sure it all gets lined up. And then you just twist your little locks so that it holds it into place. Then you're done. So there you have it. That is what it looks like. And these LED lights, I didn't show it in the video, but you can actually change the color to them. Alright, so there you have it. That is how you make the shadow box. I will say that this is probably not a craft that I would try to make and sell, because with all the stuff to use and the time that it takes to make it, you would have to sell it for quite a bit of money in order to make anything off of it. But if you wanted to make it for a friend, for like a gift, it would make a beautiful gift for a friend. And I think I'm either going to hang this up in my room or in my niece's room. It would be super cute, especially at nighttime when the lights are all off and it's dark. So yeah, that is all I have for you for this one. Have a super magical week. Make sure you check out my partner channels down below. And I will link, I'll make sure to link where I got the pattern for the paper, because I did purchase that off Etsy. So yeah, check that out. If you make one of these, you know, send me a picture. I would love to see it. That's it. Bye, guys.